Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half a hockey fan.
Good afternoon, Fred. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm all right.
Scintillating.
Yeah, it's a little late in the day, but...
It is. That's my fault. I misjudged how long it would take me to prepare for the podcast. It turns out the playoffs are a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that this week because I feel like I haven't even watched much hockey, but I probably have.
You have, and I've watched way more than you.
Right.
So it's just a lot. Like I took notes all week and I took more notes. Like I tried to organize them last night and I also worked yesterday and I'm just like, the words are swimming. Nothing's making any sense.
Yeah.
So I think I have things kind of organized now. So hopefully we can make sense of this chaotic time that is playoff hockey.
Yeah, it's certainly different. I forgot how... I don't know. It's like a whole different hockey season. Like they just play different and things are heated all the time and there's just an energy. And I also really like that it's not like getting points. It's, even if it goes to overtime, you win or you lose. That's it. Exactly.
Logan Thompson doesn't know that.
Yeah, right.
But otherwise, yeah, no, it's you win or you lose.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
So yeah, it's kind of fun, but also kind of stressful.
Kind of fun, but kind of stressful. That defines playoff hockey for sure. It's a lot.
Yeah. And I don't always like the energy that people bring because sometimes it just feels like violent to be violent.
And that's just the fans.
Right.
You aren't online. I'm online for a lot of it. And,
yeah.
And I usually, Reddit is like kind of my main hangout during the season. And I find I'm on there a lot less during playoff time because it gets real heated. Yeah. Don't like that.
Well, anyway.
But yeah. So anyway, I think let's just dive into it because we have a lot to cover.
All right. Sounds good.
So basically I broke it down series by series. So I figured we'd start with the East.
Okay. Oh, look at us. That's fancy.
Yeah. No, like I said, I really had to get organized.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult with my ADHD.
Yeah. So the format of our talk show here.
Yes.
It's changed.
It has changed.
All right.
I had to really restructure everything. So it's very new for me too.
All right. So East Coast, we're going 2 hours into the future.
Yes, I think so. I don't know. Don't ask me to do math.
Okay, go.
All right. So we have the Hurricanes versus the Devils is one series that's going on. We kind of touched briefly on game one last week, but now I've had time to actually watch the highlights of that one. And the Canes won that one 4-1. And our friend Logan Stankoven scored 2 goals in that game.
Man, they were chanting his name and stuff.
They sure were. He's great. I love him. I'm happy for him.
I didn't watch the spitting chiclet or spitting chick. I don't know.
You can't do that podcast. They call it the Bad Man podcast.
Yeah,
and I'm going to start calling it that from now on because I like that.
Yeah, the Cheesecake Factory podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw just a clip, but he seems happy and he seems settled.
He seems at peace.
Yeah,
which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, so that's good.
I definitely can tell the trade was really hard on him and it was really shocking and probably quite hurtful, but he seems to have settled in pretty well and seems to be quite happy. So
yeah, I think it ended up being a good deal for him.
Yeah, I wish nothing but the best for him, but I still miss him and always will.
Yep.
But that's okay because I can still follow him from a distance. So moving on to game 2, Logan Stankoven did not score then, but Shane Gostisbehere did, and he and Seth Jarvis were celebrating that goal. And Sebastian Aho skated up to join them, but managed to jam his own midsection straight into the butt end of just Seth Jarvis's stick and knock himself down onto the ice. And Jarvie and Gostisbehere looked shocked, but also like they were trying really hard not to laugh.
Yeah, you sent me the
like a screenshot
of them, and it's quite a funny reaction.
It was great. Luckily, he popped back up pretty quickly, so it was all fine. And Jarvis also had a goal that game, and they won that game too.
Yeah.
So not super surprising. We kind of figured the Canes were going to come out strong.
Yeah.
In that series because everyone in the Devils is dead or dying.
Yeah. No, they looked good from everything I've seen of them. I mean, we even saw some of them before we came down here, and they look like a good team.
They look solid. They're fitting together. The chemistry's good. The vibes were good.
Yep.
It really seems like the people that they have are settling into that Brind'Amour system.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. Sometimes it's just finding the right people for the system.
Right. Yep.
So Yeah, I like it. You know, the Devils already were having a hard time with injuries, and now they have had some more during the playoffs. In game 1, Jacob Markstrom, the goalie, was getting a little frustrated, and he went to slash Andrei Svechnikov.
Yep.
And he accidentally slashed one of the players on his own team.
Yeah.
And sent him off the ice injured.
Yeah, he's that was a whole funny sequence when he like laid the elbow into the dude and the dude fell down on his back or whatever.
And then he was like, that wasn't me. What?
Yeah.
And then he was...
Oh, wait, no, that was that... I thought that was Toronto.
That might have been something else.
Stolarz was also feisty, right?
Oh, yeah, but Stolarz owned that.
Right.
Yeah. Stolarz, we'll get to that. Don't worry. Yeah, no, Jacob Markstrom was like, nope, that wasn't me. Yeah. And then he kind of half-heartedly swatted at Svechnikov, like, no, I meant to hit you. I was doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
And then later he tried to hit Svechnikov again and almost hit the ref. So Markstrom needs to chill out a little bit.
That's funny.
I get it, though, because he's really good and he's been playing really well. And it's, not his fault that everybody on his team died or is dying.
Right. Yeah, no, I was definitely conflating Stolarz because we got feisty goalies in the playoffs.
We do. We have some very feisty goalies.
Yep.
So game 3, though, the Devils really showed up. I have to give them props to that one. So the first 2 games were in Carolina. The third game, they were back in New Jersey. And a lot of people thought that the series was going to be a sweep. I said Jersey was going to pull out at least one, so I was right, and everybody else was wrong.
All right.
And that always makes me happy.
Sweet.
Yeah. Nico Hischier scored a beauty of a goal in the first, and then it was just a really tight game the whole time. The Devils scored again in the third and made it 2-0. Carolina did tie up the game, and it went into OT, and then it went into second OT. So
oh, God.
It's a really tight game.
Got to stay up late for this shit.
I know. I was exhausted.
Right? My God.
I think I had to switch over to a different game at that point, too. That's the problem, is the OTs overlap with everything. And
yeah,
it all starts to blur together.
No, it's scheduled way too late for my liking.
Yes. And that's why you haven't watched as much as I have.
Exactly.
And that's why you let me sleep in this morning. Yep. So I didn't start writing earlier because I'm really tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Devils pulled out the win in game 3. So as of right now, the Hurricanes and Devils are still playing, but the Hurricanes are leading the series 2-1.
Yeah. It looked like they were going to win, but who knows what
They
happened.
were just ahead by 1 goal. That doesn't mean anything.
That'll be finished by the time soon. Anyway.
Probably will. Yeah, we can maybe circle back around.
Oh.
Uh-oh. What's that mean?
They certainly won.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, 5-2.
Wow. Okay, then. Well, we'll get into the details of that next week, maybe. Holy smokes. Oh, check and see if Stankoven scored.
Yeah, let's see here.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, that's fine. I can go ahead and start moving on to the Maple Leafs versus the Senators.
Svechnikov had a hat trick.
Wow. Good for him.
Martinuk and Slavin.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Well, then.
Stankoven, zip. 2 shots on goal. Anyway.
That's fine. He still had 2 goals in the first game, and that's what matters.
Yep.
So, yay, Stankoven.
Yep. Go Canes. I like them.
Go Stankoven's team. That's what they are to me.
Go Stankoven's team. Yeah. I hope they do well.
I do too.
Well, they're doing well. So
I hope they continue to do well.
Yeah.
Again, though, they're playing against the Devils, who I cannot emphasize enough. They are dead.
Yeah.
Like, half of them are dead. So we cannot.
Yep.
But they still look really good. The Canes do. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, let's move on to the Maple Leafs versus the Senators.
Man, I've watched more Maple Leafs hockey this week than I've seen
in your entire life.
My God, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. You try to get out of it because you're like, this isn't very exciting, but it's been getting a little exciting.
Now it's getting a little exciting, yeah.
Yeah, the series has been really chippy from the get-go. In game 1, at the end of the third period, the ref literally needed a cheat sheet for all of the penalties that he had to read off.
Oh, right.
So that was pretty crazy. A big part of it is that the Leafs have bad blood going with Ridley Gregg, and that goes back to last season when he took a slapper on an empty net, and the Leafs thought that was very rude, so Morgan Riley beat the shit out of him and got suspended for several games.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't really liked him ever since then. And he hasn't helped it by continuing to be kind of a shit stirrer.
He doesn't further his cause.
No, I think he's just kind of a shit stirrer in general. And I think he maybe especially amps that up when the Leafs are around. In game 1, he had a high hit on John Tavares. And later he went down and slid into Anthony Stolarz and knocked him down, which You never want to take out a goalie.
Right.
That's very bad.
People don't appreciate that.
They do not like that. So later he was over by the Leafs bench and somehow he managed to lose his stick. Like it fell over the side of the bench. So he skated off to get a new one and Auston Matthews picked up the stick and then just broke it in half.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's awesome.
I haven't told you about that because I have been wanting to surprise you with it because I know you love it when Matthews is a petty bitch.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I love that.
Yeah, I'll show you that clip.
Do you like break it over his knee?
I don't even know if it's over his knee, but like, yeah, he definitely like very forcibly broke it. Like he was just like,
love that.
He's like, oh, he left that here. Let me just make sure he never gets that back. It was great. But the Leafs got their revenge where it really counted on the score sheet. In game 1, they took down the Sens 6-2.
Yep.
Yeah, so big one.
Yep.
Mitch Marner had a really gorgeous breakaway goal in that game too.
Yeah.
So
he's been looking good. He's done some pretty cool stuff out there.
He has. And all the people who are like, he doesn't show up in the playoffs can suck it.
Yeah. No, he's showing up.
He is.
You just need a little positive reinforcement from the coach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the coach is great too because he's given Mitch the positive reinforcement, but he's keeping everyone else in line because the assistant coach, after I think it was the second goal in the first game, started celebrating.
I saw this.
Yes. And Berube was like, knock it off.
Because there was like the first goal or
I think it was the second goal.
It's like, dude,
he was like, it's game 1 in round 1. You need to calm yourself down. And so ever since then, he's just been like, okay, good job.
I don't know how I saw that on my own, but I guess I did.
Yeah, it might have been in one of the hockey roundups we watch. So
that could have been.
Yeah, no, that was great. Game 2 wasn't as much of a blowout, but it was still very chippy. So Ridley Gregg was camped out in front of the goal and Stolarz was still, I think, mad from the last game and maybe just forever. Mm-hmm. And he delivered 4 very hard cross checks to Ridley Gregg's back.
Yes, he sure did.
And then Ridley Gregg kind of skated off and then came back and cut through the crease and Anthony Stolarz knocked him down into the net.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. It was awesome.
It was great. It was, Stoli was being very forceful about it. He was not like mincing around. And somehow they both got penalties out of it, even though for once I don't think Gregg was really doing that much.
Right.
But I think he just has that reputation. So anyway, it was a 4-on-4, which was cool. So I'll take that.
That was cool.
It was funny.
Yep.
Yeah. No, like the announcers in that game were like, that should be 4 penalties. And I'm like, that's not how penalties work.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I cross-checked him. I'm just going to keep cross-checking him. It's not like they're going to give 4 penalties. Like, They just don't do that.
No, they don't stack.
Yeah, no. So the Leafs did go up 2-0, but the Sens tied it up and sent it to OT. And then elite goal scorer Max Domi scored the OT game winner.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Yeah, his father was in the stands there.
He was so excited.
Yeah.
So that was nice because his dad used to play for the Leafs and Max grew up in Toronto, I believe. So
yep.
Really
and we know him from the Stars.
We do. He played part of a season with the Stars.
Yeah.
And he was fun while he was there. So
He was okay. I think he's probably kind of skeezy a little bit.
I believe he is.
But I think that runs in the family.
I think he also wears an amulet, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I think he did sign on with the amulet.
I think he did. I can't remember if I made that up or if it's true, but I think it's true.
No, I think so.
I think he rides the amulet train. So game 3, the series moved from Toronto to Ottawa, and this was the first playoff game in that building since 2017. So the fans were hype. Hype.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux got a goal, but the Leafs tied it up. Mm-hmm. Then the Leafs took the lead with their second goal, but in the third period, who else but Captain Brady Tkachuk would tie it up?
Yeah.
And that took it to OT, but unfortunately for the Sens, they couldn't pull out the win at home, and Simone Benoit scored a goal right off the faceoff to win the game.
Yeah, we were
watching that, and we were like, wait, what happened?
No, like OT started, we're like, okay, cool. Oh, it's over.
Yeah, like I think we were like talking, like we didn't even know what happened.
Right.
We were just like, oh, yeah, okay.
It was like
we had to rewind
1 second after the face-off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Also, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a great clip of the post game where Simone Benoit and Auston Matthews are at a table and an interviewer asks Benoit a question in French and Matthews looks so confused. Like he's like, am I having a stroke? What's happening? And then Benoit starts answering in French and Matthews is like, what the fuck? Did anybody know he could speak French? Like, it's great. I'll have to find that and show it to you.
That's pretty
great.
Funny.
Lots of good Matthews moments this week.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun game to watch. The Senators came out hot. Like they were
They were feeding off the energy from the crowd for sure.
And that's like a tough place to play or like a loud place or something, right?
Yeah, it's not like Bell Center loud.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you keep getting them confused, but it was really loud. It was still really loud. So
yeah,
they were really amped up. So
I mean, anytime the Kachuk team there hit a person, they were just hype.
Oh yeah, they loved that.
Yeah,
they're very into that.
But anyway, they had good energy and they were definitely giving it their all. I think, like we've probably said, Toronto's a better team overall.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're certainly, trying. Yeah.
Toronto has historically, I think, been a good team the last several years, but they kind of have been falling apart in the playoffs. So for them to be up 3-0 in the series at that point was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I kind of just find them to be boring to watch personally. It's like blah, 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 and then a flash of greatness and amazing shit, and then blah, 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 it just kind of bops along, and then they do something amazing.
I feel like it's been better this year because Austin Matthews was injured for so long that they have stopped doing their usual thing, which is just like, ooh, Austin's on the ice, just give him the puck.
Yeah.
Which is kind of their MO. Like they're like, oh no, we also have to play hockey. So yeah, it seems to be helpful. I will say there was a bit of a scandal with this game, as apparently in the pregame, Nick Cousins was seen lobbing a puck at Anthony Stolarz before the game. And they used to be teammates on the Florida Panthers. So it's likely that they were, Cousins was just joking with him, or at worst, just trying to get in his head a little bit. Like he wasn't actually trying to injure him or anything. But obviously the league doesn't want that to be like a thing that happens.
Probably not.
They don't want teams to be shooting pucks at opposing players in the warm-ups.
Probably not.
Even if it's like lightly.
Yeah, you don't want to get injuries in the warm-ups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Sens got fined $25,000 and Cousins got fined a little over $2,000 for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
So had to shut that down. But like even the Leafs, like Berube was like, yeah, no, that wasn't a big deal. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So people were kind of outraged about the fines, but I get it. They were just trying to be like, yeah, no, we have to say no to this before it like escalates.
I guess. Yeah.
I guess.
The fines are silly in this sport. $2,000. Like, dude's got that like under his couch cushion.
Yeah, that's the CBA. That's the players union negotiated that.
Yeah. Not like
it's
F1,
like half a day salary or something.
Not like F1 fines. You say shit and you get a $10,000 fine.
I know, right? Oh my God. I would be in the poorhouse if I was an F1. Jesus. So game 4 happened. Was that yesterday, day before yesterday? I don't know. It blurs together.
Again, a blur. But yeah, it happened.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And it was a must win for the Sens if they didn't want to be swept. And they left it all on the ice. Little Timmy Stützle opened the scoring. And then Shane Pinto extended the lead with a breakaway shorthanded goal. Mm-hmm. And the only things I really knew about Shane Pinto are that he's pretty and he giggles a lot. But he's fucking fast.
You love him.
I just think he's pretty and he giggles a lot. That's, like whenever he does like any kind of NHL like thing, he's actually one of the few entertaining ones.
Yeah.
And it's not that like he's particularly like witty or anything. He just pretty and he giggles a lot.
Yeah.
So
he's got a good smile.
He does. Yeah. And he's just like seems happy to be there. Like,
yeah.
He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to try. And I like that kind of can-do attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
So he doesn't seem like resentful. So good job. Anyway, he's really fast. Like,
cool.
He hauled ass down the ice. And so that was really awesome. The Leafs scored 2 goals to catch up. And so we went into the third all tied up. Ottawa scored again. So did Toronto. And it went into OT. And then with just a few minutes left in OT, Jake Sanderson of the Sens scored. So the Sens won a game and it was super loud.
Yeah. So, at home.
At home. Oh man, like the Sens crowd was lit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I'm happy for the crowd. They at least got a win and they got a playoff game and a win. So, they can stick that in their bonnet or whatever you say.
I don't even know what you're trying to say, but quite honestly. But yes, I'm very happy for them. Yeah. That they got to, because this was the first time playoff games have been played in that arena since 2017.
Right.
I can't remember if I said that earlier.
You did.
Okay. Well, now you really know.
I will not forget this.
I really wanted to make sure you knew. I think that was really important information.
I'm going to forget this shortly.
You've already forgotten it. Well, yeah, the Leafs lead the series 3-1. They're heading back to Toronto. I'm still rooting for the Leafs. I know you find them kind of boring, but
I do.
I would like them to make it out of the first round. I'd like them to maybe even make it out of the second round, but let's not get out of ourselves.
Yeah. No,
One round at a time.
I do think they are going to win. So,
Well, I'm just hoping. I'm in the hoping. I'm not in the predicting, I guess.
yeah, sure.
All
Well,
right.
Cool.
Well, speaking of Kachucks, we've got the Lightning versus Panthers matchup.
Yeah. This one's like been all over the place, I think.
It has been. It's weird because like the Lightning are boring
Right.
and the Panthers are exciting.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to like get into it too much because as much as I love the Panthers, I really don't like the Lightning very much at
Yeah.
all. So game one, though, did bring us the return of Matty Tkachuk, and I'm always happy to see that little rat man on the ice doing little rat things.
Yeah, he's doing his Mark Stone shit out there.
Well, he came out swinging and he scored 2 goals in the first game, and the Panthers beat the Lightning decisively 6-2.
Yeah.
So I'm always delighted to see that.
Love that.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
it. It's great.
Crush them.
Game 2 was a lot tighter, but Tampa just couldn't make anything happen. They went 0 for 5 on the power play. But Bobrovsky just shut everything down, and frustration was mounting, and Brandon Hagel leveled Barkov with a hit so far away from the puck. Like,
Yep.
it kind of looked like Barkov was trying to go for the puck, but the puck was so far away.
Yeah.
And Brandon Hagel was like, I'm going to hit him.
Yep.
And just had like tunnel vision, I guess, and hit him super hard. So he got a 5-minute major because refs do have the discretion to be like, oh, not only was that a hit away from the puck, that was like an extra hard hit away from the puck, and that was unnecessary.
Yep.
So they give him a 5-minute major, and then the Department of Player Safety is like, actually, that was so unnecessary, you're suspended for a game.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Get
Like,
wrecked.
the last time I saw that was Jamie Benn like cross-checking Mark Stone to the ice
Oh yeah, that
against Vegas, which was bad.
that was quite the drama situation there.
And I love Jamie Benn and I don't like Mark Stone. And even I can be like, no, he deserved that suspension.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and well, anyway, I'm sure we've talked about that, but when he was questioned about it, he's like, I didn't do anything.
he was like, I just accidentally fell.
Yeah, I accidentally fell on him.
Yeah. Oh my God, James. Jameson.
Jameson Ben.
I think his name is just Jamie, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
That's weird.
it is. Anyway, so that happened. The Panthers did end up winning that game 2-0, and there was a lot of shit talking at the end. There was a great close-up of Matty pointing his stick at someone and saying, I want you, while grinning and possibly winking. Like I want to fight you.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Like next time.
Yeah.
Like basically, I want you, we're going to go. So, but the Lightning, I guess, didn't take too kindly to that because they were playing with a vengeance in game 3. So they were back in Sunrise, Panthers territory, and the Lightning had found all of their energy they were missing.
Yep.
So Matty Tkachuk opened the scoring, but that was the Panthers' only goal. And the Lightning had 5 unanswered goals.
Crushed him.
Yeah. Panthers looked really discombobulated, and Bobrovsky seemed sort of uncharacteristically off. Occasionally, he just has a bad game.
Yeah.
And that was just one of them.
I mean, you're going to let some in, right?
Yeah.
If you're a goalie.
Yeah.
So,
It just happens.
bad game. All right.
I'd rather have them all happen in one game than have it be spread out, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was exactly 5 minutes left in the third period, and Jake Gensel had the puck and passed it, and Matthew Tkachuk hit him after he had let go of the puck.
Yep.
And Matthew got a 5-minute major and left the game for the rest of the game because literally it was like he timed it. It might have been like 5 minutes and 34 seconds or something, but it was like as close to 5 minutes as you could get. So everyone on Reddit was like, oh, if Matthew Tkachuk doesn't get a suspension after Brandon Hagel got a suspension, then everything's rigged and terrible. It wasn't really to the same level of hit.
Right.
It was an open ice hit. It wasn't over by the boards. Jake Gensel did have the puck. Barkov never had the puck.
Right.
And Jake Gensel, after the game, got interviewed by Cheesecake Factory and those guys. And he was like, I passed the puck and it felt like a really long time before the hit. I went back and timed it. And it was literally 1 second. So,
I mean, that could feel like a lot.
I guess it could feel like a lot. I don't know what hockey time feels like. So,
Yeah.
But
I do. Feels like forever.
no, but like Matthew was already skating towards him.
Yeah.
Like it was, the wheels were in motion. Like I'm not saying it was like the best hit, like definitely a 5-minute major, but it was not comparable to the Hagel hit.
And you're always going to side with the Tkachuk anyway.
Matthew Tkachuk, sure.
Yeah, not the other one.
No. I won't even always side with Matthew Tkachuk. Sometimes he's too terrible.
Yeah, true.
But in this case, I just think people's hatred for Matthew Tkachuk is coloring their perspective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got, you were telling me he's got those stripes, like buzz.
Oh, he brought the racing stripes back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so douchey. I love them.
What? Like 1990s MC Hammer stripes
Yes.
that he got at Great Clips because he got those for free.
Yeah.
Unlimited haircuts for him at Great Clips.
That's why he looks so fly, man.
He's got the best haircut in the league.
It's great. And Brady has his own kind of version of it too.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, they're so stupid.
Brady definitely shouldn't do that.
No, he really shouldn't.
Not a good look for him.
He just has like one, I think.
Yeah.
He just has racing stripe. It's like he went to get his ears pierced and he only did one. And he was like, oh, that hurt. I'm not doing anymore.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. It was kind of funny that on the broadcast, the announcers were talking about how they had been talking to Paul Maurice before the game, and he was like really praising the team. He was like, we've always been a really physical team, but they've been so much smarter about it this year. And a lot of times they're really playing on the edge and really borderline, but they've really cleaned it up this year and they're not playing so hard. And then like literally right after they were talking about it, Matthew did that like really borderline hit.
Right.
And then also before the game, Paul Maurice had said, he was talking about Hagel's hit on Barkov, and he said, the only players we hit are the ones who have pucks. So after the game, John Cooper said, the only players we hit are the ones with pucks, like clearly mocking him.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty funny.
That was entertaining.
I do get a kick out of Maurice.
He's so fun.
Yeah. And, I don't have any opinions on LTIR shenanigans and cap space and all that. But, Tkachuk did the thing that, Mark Stone did. But honestly, Maurice, like, a week or two before the playoffs in some interview, he's like kind of hinted that everybody will be available regardless of whether they're ready to go. Like that was his vibe. He's like, they're going to show up. I don't know if they should.
No, he's like, I'll try to stop them.
Right.
Listen, 2 years ago, Matthew Tkachuk played in the playoffs with a broken sternum.
Yeah.
Like, I believe he's there no matter what. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He could be actively bleeding out, and I think he'd be on the ice. Like,
yep.
He's hardcore like that. Mark Stone has done the shenanigans multiple years in a row. Yeah. That's the issue. Like, I don't have a problem if it's one time, but when it happens at least 2 years in a row, then I'm giving you the side eye. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, that's
got to be careful with your spleen.
Yeah, I mean, the spleen is very fragile. So, yeah, anyway, that's that series. And the Panthers are up 2-1.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
All right,
we're moving on to this one. I think is the most exciting one in the East. It's the Washington Capitals versus the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, God, I've seen so many of these games now.
Yeah, these ones are really exciting.
They are.
So I think it was really expected that the Caps were going to kind of come out and throw their weight around.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of how they are. They're like a big physical team and they like to be intimidating. And they're also, I believe, like the oldest team in the league.
Yeah, the oldest.
The Habs are the youngest.
The oldest kindergartners.
They are the oldest kindergartners because they can't emotionally regulate.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, they totally did come out and throw their weight around. Ovi pulled a Miley Cyrus and came in like a wrecking ball and hit Cole Caulfield, even though he's like 7 inches shorter and 60 pounds lighter than Ovi.
Yeah, Ovi does. He seems like a tank when he's hitting people.
Yeah, and I think he even like really eased up on that Cole Caulfield hit. I feel like he could have gone way harder. A reporter asked Caulfield after the game what it feels like to be hit by Ovi, and he laughed and said, "Don't recommend it." So, like, feel ya.
Yep.
But the Habs really given it right back. There were lots of little scrums in that first game. At one point, Uri Slavkovsky was giving Taylor Radish a really vigorous face wash. Mm-hmm. Tom Wilson was skating towards Josh Anderson between plays, and he definitely had intent to like stir some shit. But Anderson saw him coming at the very last second, gave him a hard shove and like pushed him down onto the ice, and he was like stuck there like a turtle on his back. Yeah. Which was pretty entertaining. So, and that's a little foreshadowing for something that'll happen later in the series.
All right.
So that was the first game, and it went to OT. And I guess Ovi heard the broadcasters talking about how Ovi had never scored an OT game winner in the playoffs because he immediately scored an OT game winner.
It was like 5 seconds later.
It was like 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that game shouldn't have probably gone to overtime, but Montreal was like, oh, third period. Oh, we should play now. And like, yeah, they seem to be a great third period team.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were clawing their way back by their fingernails. They were really hanging in there. So game 2, I didn't watch that one, but the Caps won that one 3-1. I did see a post-game interview with Slavkovsky where he was visibly emotional and like choking back tears and was like, we need to play better. It needs to start with me. And he was like visibly distraught. Wow. So I felt really bad because, you know, he's built like a sequoia, but like he's a child.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's very young. So game 3. So the Caps have been very physical so far.
Yep.
Arbor Jacki has not been playing.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was like a scratch candidate. I thought he was just always in, but I guess he's not that good.
He's kind of, you just bring him in for, reasons.
Yeah, to fight Rempe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, he doesn't always play. So they were like, okay, I think we need some physicality. They brought him in for game 3. So before the game even started, he and Tom Wilson were yapping at each other during the warm-ups.
Yeah.
And it was like a very physical game from the get-go. Like literally after every whistle, there were skirmishes. Just everyone was in each other's faces all the time. So the Caps scored and then the Habs scored. And then in the second, the Habs were playing like a really physical game and they were going after Tom Wilson a lot. And I feel like they know that he's a loose cannon.
Yeah, he is.
They were basically just like, let's just provoke him so he gets himself thrown out of the game.
Yep.
And just like plan. Fucks with the chemistry.
Great plan.
Yeah, no, I really feel like that's what they were doing. So the Habs went on the power play and they gained the lead when Nick Suzuki got a goal. But then the Caps immediately tied it up again. And then more whistles, more squabbling. Like, I cannot overemphasize how much fighting there was. Like, shoving and bickering.
I only saw some of this, but like every whistle, it was just like, oh, we're going to push and shove and be stupid.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and a lot of it was like the Habs doing it because they were just like, oh, you want to do this? We're going to do it first. And we're your knowing little brothers. So we can really do this. Like,
and they've got size other than...
Yeah, Slavkovsky's huge. Xhekai's huge.
Right.
That Anderson's pretty big. Like, they're not all the Cole Caulfield size. They're not all Polly Buckets.
Yep.
So Montembeault tweaked something in the goal and had to leave the game in the second.
He's looked real good, by the way.
He's been great. He's been really solid. So they had to bring Dobesh in.
Yep, we like him.
Goalie. We do like him. He's been really good. But, he's a tiny baby.
Yeah, right.
Never played in the playoffs before. Very scary to have to come in midway through a playoff game.
Yeah.
But he was looking good. And then the second period ended, and this is where things got really exciting. So,
yeah, I guess.
The way the Bell Center is set up, there's no exit by the visitor bench. So the Caps have to skate across the ice to exit.
Right.
So the players all kind of end up on the ice at the same time, passing by each other. So as Dobesh is leaving the goal to go towards his bench, the Caps are coming off of their bench, and somebody decides to mess with Dobesh. And Savard on the Habs is like, oh no, I don't like that. And, takes exception to it. And there's some shoving. So there's some refs, linesmen in there. Tom Wilson sees that and is like, oh, are we fighting? That's cool.
That's all he needed to see.
Exactly. Because he's all hyped up from, these little guys shoving him all game.
They keep picking on me.
All these little guys keep picking on me. So he immediately makes a beeline for Xhekai, who he was, shit talking with at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
But Josh Anderson, who, shoved him in game 1, was like, I don't think so, and immediately starts fighting him.
Yep.
So then a linesman gets caught up in the middle of them, he's trying to break them up, but they're fighting. They get over by the door that leads into the Capitals bench. They all fall in.
Yep.
They fall on the ground. The linesman is in between them.
Yeah.
Spencer Carberry, the Capitals coach, is still there. He is up on the bench, trying to get away.
That'd be cool if he got into it.
Yeah, no, he was just somebody asked about it afterwards. He's like, yeah, no, they're very large. There's a trainer there who picked up a stick in case he had to defend himself.
Right.
It was complete mayhem. So it was when I was I don't know, maybe 14 or something, my sister and I had a full-on fist fight in the street.
Okay.
It was like that. It was hair pulling, throwing shoes, just one of those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was wild. So everyone was kind of pairing up, and there were some mini fights breaking up. And then my favorite part is the camera pans out and you see Ryan Leonard from the Capitals and Lane Hudson from the Habs. And they're just standing there holding hands, watching it all because they're rookies and they don't want to do this.
No, that's not for them.
Yeah. And they used to be teammates on Team USA. So, they were line mates. They're just okay, we're just gonna, I'll fight you. You'll fight me. Okay, let's just hold hands. It was adorable. It was so cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know Leonard can fight too, but he was just oh no, this is a little much.
It was a little much. It was kind of out of control.
And Lane Hudson's I'm definitely not going to fight. That's fine. You can hang out with me. So when things finally got broken up, Tom Wilson made this really exaggerated crybaby face.
Yeah, he did.
Which I initially found funny because, he's too much a lot of the time. But I do kind of like it when he's
His exaggerated taunts can be very funny.
They can be. When he was earlier in the season, like telling somebody he had a big head. And he like was resting his helmet on top of his head, like, oh, this can't fit on my head. My head's too big. However, after the game, he apparently said, oh, that wasn't targeted at the team. It was targeted at one person in particular. And the theory is that it was targeted at Slavkovsky because of that interview he gave where he was really sad.
Oh, gotcha.
So if that's the case, fuck Tom Wilson forever.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of my sad baby.
No, that's not
my
cool.
sad giant baby who's not even on my team.
Yeah.
Leave my sad babies alone.
I tell you, I knew of Tom Wilson from you throughout the season and even into last season and how much you disliked him and you seem to vacillate between loving him and hating him.
I really disliked him for a lot of years. And then he seemed to get better. Like he'd really cleaned up his game.
Yep.
And, periodically would still do dumb things, but seemed to actually be like, oh no, that was almost like muscle memory. Like he did a really bad penalty like a couple of years ago. And like immediately afterwards was like, why did I do that? Like looking at his hands, like, why would I do that? So.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't like him at all. He feels like, one of these times it's just going to be Wilson with the folding chair, or like he's going to pull a lead pipe out of his and just like kneecap somebody. I think he's too much.
He's unhinged.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's safe for him to be out on the ice.
Yeah, no, I know people talk shit about Jamie Benn, but I never feel like Jamie Benn is like fully unhinged.
Right.
Like he snapped at Mark Stone like the one time, but most of the time he's just like,
yeah,
okay, obligatory fisticuffs, or like occasionally I'll sit on somebody if it's funny.
Yeah. Like
he's definitely not like, oh, I have a gun in my pants.
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Man. Yeah, no, Tom Wilson he's too much.
Yeah, no, he's
too much tuna.
He's putting car bombs in people's cars after the game and shit.
Insane. It's too much. The emotional dysregulation is a lot.
Yep.
So no, like I like how the Caps really like bond and have this like real sort of tight friendship, and they're all obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
But it's like that same level of motion that they have for each other off the ice. On the ice, it's channeled in this very aggro way that is alarming.
It's alarming. Yep.
And most of it seems to be through Tom Wilson. He's like the conduit for it. So
Yeah.
he needs to chill out.
Hard agree.
Yeah. So the Capitals lead that series 2-1, and that is the East.
All right. Oof.
So don't worry, the West is much shorter because I've been watching a lot less of the West because those games are later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm just more interested in a lot of the Eastern matchups. So yeah, first we have Vegas versus Wild. I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched like barely a minute of that because I don't care about those teams.
Yeah. Like, I kind of like Minnesota, but then they also veer into like unhingedness at times.
Yeah, they have just, again, like their media stuff is great.
Yep. And
showcase their personalities, but then on ice you have like your Ryan Hartmans.
Yeah.
Like, pile driving people with their elbows into the ice. And then you're like, oh, fuck that guy.
Right. And then he does something again. And yeah. Kaprizov's amazing, though.
He's so good. He's so fun to watch. He's had some passes that are just like...
that saucer pass up the ice, tape on the tape or whatever. Oh, my God.
It was beautiful.
Sick.
So good.
And then he scored, which is even better.
Yeah. No, he's sick mitts,
yeah,
as the hockey men say.
Mm-hmm.
So, neither of them is my favorite team. Right. I wouldn't say that I'm like rooting for Minnesota, but I am heavily rooting against Vegas.
You're always rooting against Vegas.
Always rooting against Vegas. If I'm placing my bets, it's always against Vegas.
Right.
So I was really happy to see that Minnesota was leading the series 2-1. But unfortunately, Vegas won an OT yesterday. So they tied the series at 2-2. But Mark Stone did bleed from the face. So
so you loved that.
I mean, I didn't like celebrate, but I didn't not celebrate. So the Jets versus the Blues.
Oh, wow. We're just moving on.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I really haven't watched any of that. Like,
sounds good to me.
No, the second half of this we're going to breeze right along.
Yeah. Saw Kaprizov's pass, and that was enough.
It was nice. That was great. So Fleury's not in the goal. Like Gustafson's looked great, but I'm not like emotionally attached to him the way that I am Fleury.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
I love it.
Yeah. So the Jets versus the Blues, another matchup I haven't watched much of just because they're just lower on my priority list, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I like look at all the matchups I want to see, they're just lower down.
Right.
So the Jets won the first 2 games, and then the Blues rediscovered their witchcraft or whatever because they won game 3 7-2, and then game 4 happened earlier today and they won that 5-1. So we did catch a little bit of game 3, and we saw 2 of Pavel Buchnevich's goals.
Who?
Pavel Buchnevich.
Oh, him.
Yeah, that guy. He ended up scoring a hat trick that game. They ended up pulling Hellebuck that game. And then today's game where they lost 5-1, they pulled Hellebuck again. They had to pull him twice.
My God.
So he's doing that thing where he's like the best goalie in the world and the playoffs happen and he
folds like a Tom Wilson's folding chair.
So, yeah, I saw a clip of the crowd in St. Louis chanting, "We want Connor" today.
Man, yeah, there's been a lot of goalie taunts from the crowd.
So many goalie taunts. Yeah, it's been a lot.
Yep.
Other than that, basically the only thing I know is that during one of the earlier games, there was a clip, like St. Louis was down, but there's a clip of Jim Montgomery over on the bench, like singing along to the arena music. Mm-hmm. That's the "I Don't Want to Lose Your Love Tonight."
Wow. That seems like a hymn song.
Yeah, totally. No, good for him. He's living his best life. So
yeah,
I'm happy for him. Also, I did see a clip from, I think it was today, Radek Faksa got fooled by like a fake out shot, went for a block, and then it didn't happen. But then the next time the guy tried to fake him out, he didn't fall for it and did block the shot. So
okay,
it's like, can't fool me twice.
Yeah, go Faksa. We like him.
We like him.
He could come back.
We have so many forwards.
Yeah.
I love Fox. I miss him, but
yeah,
we need defense a lot more than we need forwards.
Maybe he could play defense.
He probably could. He'd be a lot better than some of our options. He was a good defensive forward. I'll give him that.
Yeah. The Blues look pretty good. The Jets look pretty good.
I find the Jets pretty boring.
They're so boring.
The Blues, I just kind of forget about them until they go on improbable runs like they're doing this season.
Yeah.
I do feel like they're on a heater and they could be real scary.
Yeah. And, it's all that Jim Montgomery mojo. Yeah. I think I was saying, and you look this up, it seems like everybody that left Boston is on a playoff contending team and doing great.
Yeah. Every single person. There's like one person, I think it's Jake DeBrusk, who's not, because he went to Vancouver.
Right.
But he wasn't part of like the purge and the firing. He left of his own volition.
Yeah.
But everybody else, like Charlie Coyle, and I can't remember anybody else because I don't pay attention to Boston.
The goalie guy, Olmark.
Yes, Olmark. Yeah, that was technically an off-season thing. But still, everybody who left Boston is thriving in the playoffs and living their best life. And Boston's not. Yeah, yep. Marchand is with the Panthers. Yep. And it's funny how that happens.
Get wrecked, Boston.
Apparently. I was going to say check yourself before you wreck yourself, but they already wrecked themselves.
Yeah, they're wrecked.
All right, the next matchup we have is the Kings versus the Oilers, which I have been following a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I don't really care about either of those teams, but I do love Andrei Kuzmenko. So.
You love Kuzmenko and you love Draisaitl. That's enough.
I don't even love Draisaitl enough to watch him play hockey. I just like his interviews. I just like him being bitchy to the media. So, or I'll watch clips, but I don't need to watch a game.
Yeah. He's like your Torts for me.
Yeah, kind of, exactly.
For you.
Yeah.
For me. Whatever.
Yeah.
You get it.
But also I find him hot.
Yeah. I don't find Torts hot.
That would be a different conversation. So, it's fine if you do. Anyway, Kings versus Oilers, game 1. The Kings started their series on home ice, and they chose a really unusual way to kick off the game.
Yeah, they did.
So their anthem was performed by the harmonica class from the Koreatown Senior Community Center. So it's just a bunch of older Korean ladies in traditional garb playing the Star-Spangled Banner on the harmonica.
Yeah.
I'm not a harmonica expert, but it didn't sound necessarily great to me.
It's not the best, but it's the stuff of legends at this point.
Yes. Yeah, they were cutting to players who looked kind of amused / confused.
Yeah, they
cut to Will Ferrell, who was like, "What's happening? This is weird even for me."
Yeah, no, they made the bongo thing look completely normal.
Yes, exactly. It was just they were like, "Oh, we can one up those Ducks." Or I guess it wasn't the Ducks.
No, it was Nashville.
It was Nashville. Yeah, they're like, we can totally upstage them.
Yep.
So yeah, the reception was kind of mixed online, but the crowd ended up having a raucous sing-along and the vibes were way up. So
yeah.
If you're worried about people booing the anthem, just get some old Korean ladies with harmonicas and they'll turn it into a sing-along and it'll be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, the vibes were good. The Kings actually jumped out to an early lead. They were up 4-0 and then they did what the Kings do and blew the lead.
Oh yeah.
So the Oilers came back and the game was tied 5-5. But then at the very end, the Kings scored a goal and won it 6-5.
Nice. Yep.
So, and our friend Andrei Kuzmenko had a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, he's become
so
a legend.
I liked that.
He's great.
Every time, periodically, different subreddits pop up on my page, and every time a Kings post pops up, it's people saying, let's talk about our Lord and Savior, Andrei Kuzmenko. And I'm like, yes, you appreciate that, man. He's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was certainly bummed when he left Philly, but I couldn't be, I was wrong to be bummed. Like, I'm happy he's there.
He's flourishing.
Yeah.
He's doing so well.
Yeah.
So he's great. In game 2, they went ahead and brought back the Korean harmonica ladies.
I mean, you got to.
You have to. This time they wore Kings jerseys, which was really cute.
Nice.
The crowd sang along again, even more enthusiastically.
Yeah.
The players were into it. It was great. The Kings continued to dominate offensively, and they won this one 6-2.
Nice.
So,
and they are like a good team at home or something, right?
I think so.
Like I think that was a stat throughout the year. Like they just don't lose at home.
Yeah. No, they're pretty hardcore.
And then you get the harmonica mojo on top of that.
Yes. Kuzmenko once again had a goal and an assist because he's the best.
Yep.
The Oilers pulled goalie Stu Skinner partway through and replaced him with backup Calvin Pickard. And again, the crowd was chanting, "We want Skinner." So, but Calvin Pickard let a couple in too. So they were happy either way. In game 3, the Oilers decided they were going to just go ahead and start Calvin Pickard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. It did work for them, though, because they did actually win that game. They won it 7-4. That was largely because the LA coach made the worst challenge decision I've ever seen in my entire life. I was watching by myself downstairs in my office, and I literally said, "What the fuck?" out loud. So basically, there was a goal. It was like a power play goal from the Oilers. And initially it was called on the ice, no goal, because they thought it had been kicked in. But then they reviewed it and they realized that it had gone off a skate, but then he had played it with a stick into the goal. So it was fine. So they were like, after review, we have realized that he did kick it, but then he played it with a stick. So it was a good goal. So then the Kings challenged it.
I mean,
they said it was goaltender interference.
Yeah, well, after they review it, I would certainly challenge it. That makes sense.
It was a bold move, Cotton, and it did not pay off.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we got to go review this again."
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see how like maybe a case could be made for goaltender interference if goaltender interference was a clean cut thing in this league, and it's not.
Right.
It's not. Like, I could see how it could be interpreted as that, but it is so vague. And like the score was tied at this point. Like that goal took it to 4-4. So, and it was like maybe halfway through the third or a little more than halfway through the third.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty of game left. But if you challenge the goal, then and you lose, then the other team gets a power play.
Right.
And he still challenged the goal.
Yeah. I guess what the thinking was, they were reviewing it for kicking and not goaltender interference.
Yeah, that I'm sure that was the thinking.
Yikes.
It was magical thinking, I guess. And it was bad magic.
5D chess.
It was like 2D chess. It was not good. So unsurprisingly, they reviewed it and they were like, yeah, no, the goal's still good. Just like we said the last time we reviewed it. And so the Oilers went on the power play and immediately scored. Yeah.
I don't know how their power play is, but I know that they have skill and probably can handle a power play.
I think it was Draisaitl to Bouchard. And it was basically crazy. And the Kings tried to get back into it and tie it up, but Pickard just really kind of shut them down. And then they pulled him, and then the Oilers got an empty net. And then they pulled him again, and the Oilers got another empty net. So it was 7-4, I believe, finally.
Yikes.
So it was bizarre. It was one of the most confusing things I've ever seen. And, hockey gets very heated during playoff time. It's, fans fight and like really get into it with each other. Nothing has unified the hockey world more than fans from all over the place, LA fans and fans from every other team going, what the fuck was he thinking? Like nobody agrees with that decision. So it was very bizarre.
Interesting.
And that brings us to our very last pairing in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
The Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche.
Right. I thought we were going to do them first.
No, I had already planned to save them for the end.
All right.
So game 1 we already talked about because I was there.
You were there.
About that last week.
Yep.
So we don't have to revisit that one.
Nope. Don't have to revisit game 1.
Game 2 was also in Dallas, and it seems like that one might have been a little more fun.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Should have sent you that one.
So Nate McKinnon scored first in that one, but then Tyler Seguin tied it up with like a really vintage Tyler Seguin goal. Like he went down to one knee.
Yep.
Like he hasn't been able to do that in years. Like that hip surgery really like revived him.
Right. Yeah.
So that was awesome.
He got right back up and like didn't have to stay down there and get helped up.
It was awesome. And the primary assist was from Jamie Benn. So it was just like, we were like, is it 2016 again? What's happening? Like old school Stars fans were very excited.
Yeah.
Thomas Harley also had a really nice goal. The Avs did get 2 more, and then they brought the lead to 3-2.
Yep.
So that made me a little nervous. But then halfway through the third period, Dodonov tied it up with like a super grimy goal. Just like in there, just whacking at it, like got it while falling down.
Yeah.
He does not care how stupid he looks. He will get that goal in the net.
He is a fighter when it's greasy and he's there, he's in it.
Exactly. So the game went to OT. And I think it's important to note that Colin Blackwell didn't play in the first game. And Pete put him in game 2 because he thought we were kind of low energy. And Colin Blackwell's a real energy guy.
Yeah.
He wanted that energy in there. And Blackwell played like insane all game. He was all over the place.
He was noticeable.
From minute 1.
Yep.
And he's a little scrappy guy. He's our short king now that Logan Stankoven's in Carolina. And he was the hero in OT. He got the puck and hustled down the ice. And he took a shot on net and it didn't go in. And he went and cleaned up his rebound that sat on the ice for, it seemed like 15 minutes.
I've never seen anything like that.
I had time to sit there and think, oh, it'd be really neat if Colin Blackwell could go pick up that puck and get it in the net and get his own rebound and score the game winner. And then he did it.
Right.
Like that's how long it was.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable.
It was so good. And he got in and he was so happy.
Yeah.
He's skating his little legs as fast as he can to the glass so he can like charge into the glass. And like his teammates all want to hug him. And he's like, no, I have to charge into the glass.
Yep.
So everyone was so happy. They all surrounded him. You couldn't even see him because he's so tiny. And it was a really nice moment. So
yeah, I
was really happy for him.
Yeah, no, that was a good game. I did not think that the Avalanche looked like they did in game 1. Like they didn't seem as fast and feisty. They just seemed like out there kind of playing a game. And I'm glad Dallas won because I feel like they should they played better. They
played better. They deserved to win that game.
Yep.
Everyone looked good. They were really vibing. Maybe the altitude caught up with the Avs. They can't play on the flatlands.
They can't play on the flatlands. They're just used to that.
They're like, oh no, we have too much oxygen. We can't do it.
That Rocky Mountain air.
So game 3, they all returned to Denver.
Yeah. And we considered going to this game.
We did briefly.
And then we added up the numbers.
We did the math. We crunched the numbers. And then we were like, we don't want to spend all of that money.
Yeah.
Because we were going to take our kid.
Yep.
And then we were going to have to get a hotel.
Yeah.
It was just too much.
It was way too much.
And like, you were going to be so tired.
I was going to be very tired.
Very tired. So.
And I don't think either of us had confidence that it was going to be a great environment to be a Dallas Stars fan.
I was also 99% sure we were going to lose this one because Gabe Landeskog, it was his first game back as an Avalanche.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Right.
Like over 1,000 days.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The last time that somebody had been out that long, it's because they were in a world war. Literally. Like there were 2 other players who had been out that long. It was like in 1940s.
Wow.
Like that's the only time people have been out of the NHL that long and then returned.
Yep.
That's insane.
I mean, the welcome back was like a war hero coming home.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, the vibes are crazy. I knew everyone was going to be real into it.
Yep.
And people can be a little unfriendly at ball sometimes. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to bring my kid into that atmosphere.
Right. Yeah.
So much. So.
And every interview I think that we saw, everyone said it was either the loudest or second loudest they've ever heard an arena.
Yeah, Tyler Seguin said that for sure.
Yeah,
so.
and Pete DeBoer did as well, and somebody else said it. The announcers.
Yeah. No.
Josh and Razor.
Yeah, it was just bonkers. So yeah, I was pretty positive we were going to lose this one. But somehow we managed to not do that.
Right.
So Val Nichushkin opened the scoring in the first. And then that was it for goals until halfway through the third period when Jamie Benn had a really beautiful redirect.
That Nichushkin, was that the like spinning around backhanded one? That doesn't matter.
Maybe. It was like controversial because he set a pick to do it, which is illegal and should have been a penalty.
Gotcha.
And like we were already shorthanded because of a penalty that wasn't a penalty.
Right.
But like regardless of the fact that it was like really bad reffing twice in a row, like our defense should have been better. So
yeah,
I like didn't really bother to like break it all down.
Gotcha.
He had a goal. It was a goal. So,
yep.
you know.
Yep.
But yeah, Jamie Benn had a really great redirect. And then with about 30 seconds left in the game, Mason Marchment went to the box for a double minor, high-sticking somebody and drawing blood.
Yeah. I think you need to think about getting a new client because I don't know. He's starting to rub me the wrong way. Like he just seems a little Tom Wilson-y right now.
I wouldn't say he's Tom Wilson-y. Like I think he's just careless. Like he's not like aggro.
He won't shut up talking to the refs.
He does need to fucking chill out with the refs. Like he
all
really
he does. All he does is swear at them.
He does lose his mind at the refs.
Yeah.
Which that wasn't even this time.
No. Yeah.
This time he was like, I mean, yeah, I did high stick that guy in the face. He is bleeding. Like, I can't really argue with that. I mean, he did yell a little bit, but that's just his natural state of being.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we had about 30 seconds left in the game. He went to the box. We managed to kill off that 30 seconds, but that meant we were going into OT because tied game, going into OT, still had 3.5 minutes left on the penalty kill. So I think myself and most other Stars fans had kind of resigned ourselves. Like, okay, this isn't going to go great.
Right.
And, you know, there's like longer breaks in between intermission, you know, in the playoffs, like in OT, because they're like longer OT sessions. So, you know, as Josh and Razor said, it was like an extra 18 minutes in the penalty box for Mush, basically.
Yeah, they don't go back to the locker room. They just kind of hang out on the ice, I guess. Or...
I mean, I think they were in the locker room, but he's just stewing like the whole time. Yeah. Because like he knows he has to go back to the box and he has to like deal with all of his teammates, like knowing.
I thought he was sitting in there the whole time.
No, it was like more like the metaphorical penalty box.
Okay.
The penalty box of his emotions.
They all go back there and he still has to sit out there.
Yeah. That would be amazing. No, I think it was like his emotional penalty box.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but our PK unit was led by the incomparable Essa Lindell and somehow shut down the Avs.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Definitely.
And that really gave us kind of the boost we needed. And Mush got out of the box and seemed determined to make up for his error.
Yeah.
So it all started with Mikko Rantanen, who made a really great defensive play and muscled a puck away from two of the Avs. And he chipped it ahead to Mush, who just kind of used all of his gangly, awkward limbs to corral the puck and protect it.
Yep.
And he kind of got it behind the net and turned himself around. And in the meantime, Mikko had gotten off the ice because he was at the end of a shift and gotten Tyler on the ice. And Tyler had started going towards the net. And, you know, Mush and Tyler are like soulmates. Like they can find each other, you know, in a crowd. So as soon as Mush turned around and saw Tyler coming, he was like, hell yes. Got that puck to Tyler. Tyler got it right over Blackwood's shoulder and scored the OT game winner.
Yeah.
And it was sick.
It was a sick goal.
It was so sick.
Yep. The whole situation.
It was insane. I mean, I like stood up and cheered in my living room. It was so good. I said Tyler Seguin from like 2016 time traveled here from the past to save us.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
It was good. And that was certainly, people were hyping up like how Rantanen made that happen. And
it was his first playoff point with us.
So he got
been talking about how he didn't have any playoff points. Yeah, he had the secondary assist. Yeah. Yeah. So we had his first playoff point with us in Ball Arena on Gabe Landeskog's night back.
Yeah.
So
Landeskog did push him right to the ground like first shift.
Yes, he did. Like very first shift on the ice, just clobbered him and sent him down to the ice. Not that it's that hard to send him to the ice.
No, exactly.
He sends himself to the ice constantly.
The crowd went wild.
Oh, they loved that. They loved it a lot. There was a lot of booing whenever Mikko had the puck too. Yeah. So he's just their new villain. They've decided. I guess Matt Duchene maybe gets a break now. I don't know.
I don't know. They still seem.
They still don't like him either. After the game and Tyler's post game, he defended Mush on the penalty and he said he doesn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's now my co-counsel, basically.
Sagan's post game there was eloquent and fascinating and just well-spoken and insightful and really, I don't remember hearing an interview from him like that.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that Tyler Seguin was going to be like married with a baby and like introspective and thoughtful, I would have been like, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, I have some pictures I could show you from that era. Not even the naked Zamboni pictures.
Not even
just
that
like
one.
Partying like post cup with the Bruins pictures. That,
but you will show that one if people need to see it.
I mean, the people who listen to that podcast have seen those. Those are just like entry level to being a Stars fan.
Yeah.
So Jake also did a post-game interview and said that when he has a baby, he's probably going to make Essa the godfather.
Yeah.
He said he's just a goaltender's dream.
Right.
And he's amazing. Tyler said that he didn't think he fully appreciated Essa until he was out for so long this year and just watching Essa every game.
Right.
He just does so many things and he just does them so quietly.
Yeah.
Like he's not a flashy guy, but he's just amazing. Yeah. So this was a game for Essa Lindell truthers like myself.
Yep. You've been talking him up since the dawn of time.
I have been for years, literal years.
Yep.
So there was a fun mic'd up video from Landeskog's first game back that came out. He was in the middle of a skirmish and he was like, I've been waiting for this for a long time. I like this. So that was good. Like Harley was trying to get at him, I think. And everyone's like, whoa. Like, yep. Don't touch her, Captain. He's like, no, I like it. He skated over to Jamie Benn and he said, what's up, old man? And Jamie said, welcome back, big fella. After the game, reporters asked what Mikko had said to Gabe on the ice, and Gabe started laughing and replied, he said something along the lines of welcome back. And we learned from the mic'd up that what Mikko specifically said was, welcome back, you big fuck. So I liked that he was like laughing and trying to figure out a way to make it family friendly.
Yeah.
So, and then Gabe had some playful back and forth with a ref that he's clearly known for years. And later you can hear the ref say to Jamie, he told me he can't believe I'm still in the league. And Jamie replied, he called me an old fart. So it was pretty cute.
Yeah.
All right. Game 4.
All right. So at this point, you're like, oh, maybe the Stars are not going to do the thing that the Stars do and play bad, and everything is looking up, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I did forget to mention, I think it was in Game 3, that Leon Bischel got his shit rocked by Yoel Kiviranta.
Yeah, he did. And
then got back up and immediately got back into the game and then blocked a puck and it hit him. Everybody online thinks it hit him in the sensitive areas, but I think it was the hip flexor, according to Razor.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
It looked like that to me too.
Yeah.
So he did have to leave the game briefly, but because he's a superhero, he came back even though he was visibly still in pain.
Yeah.
And was still in pain for Game 4 because somebody hit him, and when he got back up, he was like wincing.
Yeah, people certainly have his number in the playoffs in terms of like knocking him down and smacking him around.
Yeah. So I think he's maybe tried to dial back his own physicality because he was getting so many penalties.
Yep.
And he's trying not to do that because Mush has them covered in that department.
Yeah. Marchman's got him taken care of there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's my poor Bish.
Marchman's just zoning out when Pete's like, we need to not take penalties.
Marchman's like, I thought you were talking to Bish. I didn't know you were talking to me. You got to tell me these things. So, yeah. Anyway, Game 4 was a rough one. And I feel like the Avs got over their, our captain is back jitters. And they showed up ready to play for him.
Yeah.
And we did not show up ready to play for anybody.
Yeah, I saw.
Especially not Jake Ottinger.
Yeah, I only saw the first period of this because I had to go to bed because I had to wake up early.
Yes, because you have your class.
Yep.
So we were on the power play in the first. And my sweet boy Harley was being kind of a fancy boy with puck, and Logan O'Connor saw an opportunity and basically bulldozed him and stole the puck and went in on a 2-on-1 and just rifled the puck past Jake. I don't think there was much Jake could have done about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, he totally should have had that. But I feel like there were people who only show up for the playoffs.
Yeah, certainly.
So the Avs' second goal came from Nathan McKinnon, who was left basically unattended and drilled a shot in. And I really thought Jake made that save at first, but I guess it just trickled through him.
So yeah, this one I saw, and I feel like he did stop it, but the puck was like, no, I'm just going to keep on going. It was just like, yeah, it was unbelievable.
I thought it was going to be like a cartoon where like a cannonball shoots through you, but there was just going to be like a hole in him, like where the puck went through. It was just like that kind of a thing.
It was rifled so accurately. Unbelievable. Yeah.
It was insane.
Yep.
So we came into the second down 2-0, and Jake had like the fire in him. Like you could tell he was just like, fuck this. I don't want this to keep going on this way. Because he made some insane saves in the second. He was like just really crushing it. He was doing his best.
Yep.
But while we had been really matching the Avs on offense in the first period, our offense just kind of trickled to a standstill in the second.
Yeah.
So in the first period, we had 11 shots. And then in the second period, we had 5 shots. And then
five doesn't seem like a lot.
It's not. And then in the third period, we had 7 shots.
Yeah.
So we had a total of 23 shots in the game.
Yep.
The Avs had 12 shots in the first. 22 shots in the second,
Oh, God.
and 14 in the third for a total of 48 shots.
Man, the second period, they just dominated them, I guess. That was after I went to bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a miracle Jake only let one more goal in, honestly. Like,
Right.
He was standing on his head for us, but we could not make anything happen. It was just like we were constantly down in our own end, and Jake was doing what he could.
Yep.
But it was a goal, and the person who scored the third goal was Gabe Landeskog. So at that point, you're pretty much like, oh, well, this is it. This is the comeback game.
And we felt the tremors an hour away from Denver.
Yeah, no, Ball Arena absolutely lost it. They erupted. It was crazy. There's a great still shot from the crowd of this guy like chugging a beer and pumping his fist in the air. And next to him, there's a couple just full on making out. Like, it was mayhem.
Yep.
Positive mayhem. Yeah, people loved it. It was great. You know, it's great if you were an Abs fan, I guess I should say. It was not so great if you were a Stars fan.
From the one period of this I did see, it did feel more like the Avalanche we saw in game one. Like, they were fast and connected and like moving as a team and just fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like how you said fast twice, but that's just how fast they are. They're so fast.
There's not a better word, but yeah, you have to say it a couple times because, God, they're fast.
Well, Jake was far and away our best player, but we started the third period with our backup goalie in the net. Yeah. And I assumed that at that point, Pete knew the game was a lost cause and just didn't want to keep putting him through like the psychological torment and didn't want to like give him like an injury risk.
Yep.
Or that maybe it was sort of like a Hail Mary to try and like ignite the team.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a slight against Jake. And he did confirm after the game that he pulled Jake for rest and that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And the backup goalie let a goal in.
Yep.
And that was otherwise pretty much uneventful until like the last 30 seconds of the game. Wyatt Johnston was involved in a skirmish and Thomas Harley had to skate in and pull somebody off of him by the head and throw him on the ice.
Yep.
And then out of all of that, only Wyatt got a roughing penalty somehow. But it did prove to me that Wyatt does want to fight.
He does. He's ready.
I've been
ready
saying
to
it
be
for years.
He's ready to be a grown-up.
He is. So maybe he should just get some goals, though.
Start there.
He's been a little quiet this playoff.
Yeah.
So the series is now tied 2-2. The Stars play tomorrow in Dallas and on Thursday in Denver. If they win tomorrow, then I might need to go to Denver on Thursday because the last time I saw Dallas play the Avs in a Game 6 at Ball Arena, it went very well for them. And so it's tradition. So,
right. Well,
but if they lose, I definitely don't want to go.
All right. Well, we'll see how that turns out.
I do have a very busy week at work, though, so it's probably not going to happen either way.
See how that turns out for our pocketbooks.
All right. Well, I don't want to end on a bummer note, so...
That's why I thought we were doing Dallas first.
Well, yeah, no, I saved a little, I got a little palate cleanser for the end.
I love it.
So
our moment of Zen or whatever.
Our moment of Zen from the Daily Show.
Daily Show? Okay, cool.
So the San Jose Sharks are not in the playoffs, but they are still blessing us with content from the Baby Sharks.
Yeah, they still got good vibes going on in postseason.
Yeah, their vibes are so good. They have spilled into postseason. So earlier in the week, the Sharks posted their own take on the not everything is a two-person job video trend. Since you're not on social media, you don't really know it, but it's a video where two coworkers will do tasks together that are really only a one-person job.
Oh, God, you asked me, you're like, have you seen this trend? And I was like, you can stop right there. No, I haven't.
I didn't assume you had, but I just figured I'd ask to be polite.
You don't even need to tell me what the trend is. I've not seen it.
Well, since we all know that Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini are pair bonded, they were a perfect fit for this trend. The video has them doing all kinds of things together. They're both lifting a barbell. They're signing something with the same pen. Will is holding up a water bottle for Mac to drink out of. They're both wrapping a stick while looking directly at the camera. Will's putting a helmet on Mac. They're playing ping pong together with the same paddle. Will cannot keep a straight face at all through the video.
Yep.
Mac's doing a little better, but still cracking a smile. It's just really fun. And the Shark social media team really is dialed in on the content.
Yeah, they know where it's at.
Exactly. No, it's just like the perfect fit for the trend. But we really got more insight into their dynamic when they appeared on the Never Offside podcast hosted by Kat Foley and Julie Petrie. Mm-hmm. Petrie was off this week for spring break, so Kat's husband Tyler filled in. And of course, he is on the San Jose Sharks.
He is.
And he is the fun uncle. They gave out awards this was on Instagram. He got the Fun Uncle Award and Will Smith got the most giggly award.
Nice.
So basically, it was Kat and Tyler being hosts, and Will and Mac were the guests. And it was a long podcast. You didn't have the attention span for it.
No. Once I saw that the interview went more than 15 minutes, I was like, no, I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah. So I watched it and I took some notes to just kind of hit the highlights for you. So they showed up late to the recording because they were spending the day together doing all kinds of things. And Will had to return the golf club. And apparently he took too long and Mac got annoyed and punched Will's windshield and broke it. And Mac insists that he refuses to apologize because he's going to pay for it. And Tyler seemed very unsurprised by this because apparently Mac gets pissy pretty easily. And Kat asked if Mac's hand was okay. And he said he barely touched it and it was just a soft windshield.
Breaking a car window is no joke.
Yeah, he just was like sitting in there, I guess, just kind of like put his fist out. But
oh, man.
I mean, to hear Will tell it, like the whole thing was shattered and it was like a huge rock hit it. And then Mac was just like, he could drive it for 1.5 years and it would be fine.
Yeah.
So
they do seem to lean into the hyperbole at times, those two.
They do. And they are very bickery, but like in a fun way. They're just like, they're an old married couple for sure. They talked about their living situation. Will lives with Patrick Marlowe's family and Mac lives with Joe Thornton's family. Tyler asked where they spend most of their time and Mac was like, with you. And Tyler was like, oh, right, in your bunk beds.
Right.
Kat asked if they see Tyler as old and they immediately said yes, like so quickly. Mm-hmm. Tyler was like, okay. Apparently, Mac asked Tyler if he had ever played against the North Stars, which were the Minnesota team that became the Dallas Stars in 1993.
Yep.
And Mac was like, it was a funny joke.
Right. That is kind of funny.
Which Tyler was like, that was funny. He's like, but it was kind of hurtful when you said that you used to watch my Sellies with a buddy when you were a little kid. Mac actually attended a hockey camp when he was 12 and Tyler gave a talk there, but he didn't tell Tyler about it like right away because he said that you're not the easiest guy to talk to. And Will backed him up and said, sometimes you get mad. And Tyler said that he only gets mad because they're annoying him. And Mac said, sometimes you look at me and you go, shut up. Like they definitely have like the self-appointed little brother vibes.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
They could have a sitcom, I guess.
Oh my God, they definitely could. Or a reality show. Yeah. Oh my God, the show could totally do a reality show. It's great.
Yeah, real world with that crew.
It would be great.
Yeah.
They should just move into Tyler and Kat's place next year and just have the reality cameras follow them around. It would be amazing.
I don't know why they're not living together.
They did ask sort of like what their plans for living next year are. And they're like, we haven't talked about it. We're going to talk about it at the end of the season because this was taped like before their last game.
Gotcha.
Mac did say that they didn't like each other at first because they were always rivals, but they started bonding at rookie camp. He said Will was quiet at first, but then he opened up real quick. And Tyler said, that's because you were probably talking and he couldn't get anything out. Mac's apparently a chatterbox.
Yeah.
Will says that all the Shark social media content is pretty much just what they're like, even when the cameras aren't on. Mm-hmm. Like it's just natural.
Yeah, that's good. Just
capturing them in their natural environment.
Yeah.
Tyler co-signed that. He said he had an adjoining hotel room with them recently and he was trying to take a nap and he had to call them and tell them to be quiet because they were yelling and putting each other in chokeholds and he couldn't sleep. Will says that Sharky might still have a concussion from that soccer ball he kicked at him. He says Sharky told him to do it as hard as he could. So he was like, all right, this is my chance.
Well, he certainly did.
Oh, he sure did. They talked about when Mac's car got hit by the Rangers bus, but apparently Will has had some driving problems of his own. He hit a gate at the rink. He's backed into a few poles. He broke a taillight. Mac said he broke a windshield and Will's like, you broke my windshield. Mac blamed the fact that he only just recently got his driver's license on the quote whole tariff thing. Apparently, whenever he does something wrong or like behind the curve on something, he blames it on the tariffs.
Nice.
And everyone thinks it's because he's stupid, but he's like, you guys just don't understand funny jokes. So it's great. Kat brought up that there's a fan conspiracy that the two of them sometimes swap suits to mess with people because there's a teal checkered suit and a gray checkered suit. And sometimes one of them is wearing the one and sometimes one of them's wearing the other. And they're like, no, that's ridiculous. We don't swap suits with each other. We both have teal ones when we both have gray ones. And Kat's like, oh, so you just have matching ones. And they're like, no, they're different. They just look alike. They're not matching. They just look exactly alike. A lot of times they show up dressed alike, but they say that they didn't talk about it ahead of time. They have an ongoing prank war with Ty Delandria. He did some prank that they couldn't even talk about on the podcast. So to get revenge, they, in a hotel, put his mattress in the shower.
Wow.
I hope that they put it back. Didn't leave it for the hotel staff.
I don't know.
So they, I guess, now too are afraid about what he's going to do to get back to them.
Yeah.
Like, Will legitimately was like, we're scared. He sounded like legitimately scared. They said they don't prank each other. Will said it would get ugly. Max says it wouldn't be enjoyable. And Tyler said that someone's car would get blown up if they did that. They do like to play sting pong with each other, which is where they play ping pong, but they just hit ping pong balls off of each other really hard.
Okay.
Tyler said he got a picture from one of the equipment guys one day of them, and they were just covered in welts. They just go to the rink on an off day, shoot the puck around, then they go play some ping pong to unwind, and then they're like sting pong, and then they do that. They turn on the music really loud, and then the equipment guys come to check on them because they can hear them screaming.
Wow. That's some Fight Club shit.
Hockey players are psychotic. It's crazy. And they're like laughing. They're like, that's so fun. And then Tyler's like, and then what? Do you like get in the cold tub after? They're like, yeah, that's the only way it stops hurting.
The first rule of ping pong club.
Yeah, sting pong club.
Sting pong, sorry.
You're just certified weirdos.
Yeah.
Kat asked them if they have favorite places to go. Will said they like to go to coffee shops and people watch. And Max like, that sounds really weird. And Will's like, not in a weird way. We just like enjoy the weather and stuff. And Tyler and Mac are like, no, that's weird. And Will is like, we do that every day. And Mac's like, it's every couple weeks. And Will's like, it's every other day. But Mac denies it. And then Mac says, I'm not watching people. He's watching people. I didn't know we were people watching. So,
that's funny.
Will's originally from Lexington, Massachusetts, and Kat found out from his mom that his favorite thing to do every year is to go to the annual reenactment of the Battle of Lexington. They get up at 4 a.m. to go watch. Kat suggested he invited Mac, and Will immediately said no because he yaps about everything.
Yep.
Mac said he would go, but he would be on the Concord side. They would fight about it.
That's funny. That's a cool area of Mass. Anyway,
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah.
I put that in there for you, New Englandy.
Yep.
And then finally, they ended up by doing a speed round of questions, just to kind of, trivia. They watched a lot of movies, including rom-coms. Will tried to describe the plot of one, and no one knew what he was talking about, including me, and I know everything.
Yeah, you don't require many prompts for figuring out the nonsense that comes out of my mouth.
I was IMDb before IMDb was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, my sister will literally call me from trivia nights. Like, they have a phone a friend option at trivia nights, and she always calls me.
Yep.
Mac doesn't like horror movies because he doesn't want to get scared. Their favorite emoji, they both had the same one, is the cry laugh emoji. And then my favorite part of the whole interview is Will says his favorite song is Pony by Genuine. He says, not genuine, genuine.
Genuine.
As soon as he says that, Mac buries his face in his hands. Kat immediately says, sing it, like sing a lyric. And they both just start giggling like nonstop. And then Will tells Mac to sing it because he's like, you like the song too. And then Mac's like, I can't remember the lyrics, but you have a dance to it, so you should know the lyrics.
Oh my God.
And then they both just insist that they have forgotten the lyrics and cannot possibly sing it.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that I was 14 when that song came out and I had to go lie down for a while. So that was it. It was just mostly them being silly, but it's fun. They're very vickery.
Well,
they really do seem to be like exactly like how they come across on social media. They're just silly, silly boys.
Well, that's cool. I mean, maybe we follow them closer next year.
Maybe.
They've got good hats, which is my number one entry point into a team.
Yeah. If their hats are good, Fred's going to watch.
Yep.
Or at least be interested.
At least buy your hat.
Only thing they have against them is that their games are late.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me.
It's going to be a problem for you.
Yeah. But maybe that's good. I won't be able to watch them. You can just tell me about the games.
That's true. That's the advantage of being half a hockey fan. You don't actually have to watch hockey. You just have to make your wife tell you about it.
God, yeah. Maybe next year I'll be quarter of a hockey fan. A lot of friggin' hockey.
See, you feel that way now, but after you have some time to detox, you'll forget.
I don't know. This year's been a lot.
It's just because it's your first year being immersed in it.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap it up because there's more hockey on and I got to go watch it.
We got to go upstairs and watch more friggin' hockey.
Yeah. So that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on Tumblr, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram at Ice is Slippery Pod. You can also email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to get suggestions for games and hear your hockey hot takes. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.